Thor has faced down a lot of villains in his day. Loki, Surtur, Malekith, even Thanos. But probably two of the most powerful villains Thor's ever gone up against, Hela and Gorr. So who wins in a fight between these two? The goddess of death or the god butcher? Well, let's get into it. Hela is the queen of Hell, the Asgardian underworld where the damned and the dishonored go after death. Basically, you can either go to Valhalla or Hell. And let me tell you, you better hope you make it into Valhalla. It's not like Hell is a place of endless torment and torture like the traditional depiction of Hell, but it's just a sad, lonely, and quiet place. Just a bummer of a place. Not a great vibe. So, being Asgardian, Hela is incredibly strong and incredibly tough. It really just goes with the territory here. You can say that about pretty much every single Asgardian. She is strong enough to clash with other Hell Lords, like Pluto. And dude, if you're not ready for Hela, if you're not prepared, she can absolutely pound the crap out of you. Probably most impressively, Hela can go up against Thor, beat up on Thor, even seriously injure Thor. She's also tough enough to take plenty of attacks from Thor. Even Thor when he was definitely pissed off, when he was definitely trying his absolute best to kill Hela. He could try his best, and he does get his fair share of good hits in on her, but pretty much every single time, Hela is able to remain and come back uninjured. Just keep on fighting.
Hit it with a lightning blast.
I just hit it with the biggest lightning blast in the history of lightning. It did nothing.
But not only is Hela Asgardian, but she's also a Hell Lord, up there with Mephisto and the like, which means that she's got magic, necromancy, control over the dead, all sorts of stuff like that. I mean, just for starters, Hela has some pretty massive armies at her disposal. Armies of the undead. And while she does look pretty metal, riding a dragon and in control of an army of the dead, it's not just all for aesthetics. This army is enough to take on the Hulk, force him to fight for days on end. She's got giant spider wardens, hellhounds, hell wolves, even corrupted and twisted versions of the Valkyrie at her beck and call. She can control essentially life and death itself, rapidly aging people, robbing them of their life, bringing them to the brink of death, or even cause them to turn to dust in a matter of seconds. Pretty freaking hardcore. She can manipulate souls, even manipulating Odin's soul and transforming it into this massive cosmic level entity known as Infinity. Then, in some weird way, is almost omnipresent. Not in a true everywhere at once sense, but because there is no time or place that isn't affected by death, Hela can go wherever or whenever she wants. But then there's Gorr, the God Butcher. He was born on a distant planet with no name, constantly living on the brink of death and starvation, taught to trust the gods with all of his problems and prayers, except the gods never bothered to listen or answer. After a life of tragedy after tragedy, just one horror after another, Gorr comes to believe that maybe there was no such thing as gods. That's why they never answered his prayers, because they didn't exist. Of course, that was kinda hard to square when he witnessed two gods battling to the death in the sky above him. The gold god plunged out of the sky and crashed landed nearby. Shocked by the realization that gods did exist, Gorr was enraged when the gold armor god begged for help. Instead, Gorr used a weapon he found on the god's body, all black the Necro Sword, to kill the gold armored god, then vowed to seek vengeance against all gods for never answering his prayers and set out to kill them all. Gorr is incredibly strong, easily beating up on Thor, all different types of Thors. Yeah, you think it's impressive that Hela is able to fight against Thor? Well, Gorr can fight against three different versions of Thor at once. That's on a whole other level. He can take a crazy amount of punishment, just all sorts of massive blows and punches from many different Thors and really many different gods. I'm talking world shattering blows. He survived lightning strikes from Thor, some really pretty serious lightning strikes. He was just unbothered by Thor throwing literal stars at him, was even sent flying whole light years by some of these blasts. Gorr is incredibly tough, just almost on a whole other level. And Gorr is a whole other animal with All Black the Necro Sword. Because not only is he able to pierce through and slaughter and butcher countless gods, but he's able to beat three different Thors all at once. He's able to destroy whole planets and cut stars in half, do pretty much everything that he could possibly want to do. Form constructs like giant serpents or giant swords, or even whole planets, can engulf stars and planets and even the whole universe in darkness. And each of these constructs, these black berserkers, are able to kill gods all by themselves. It takes Thor hours to kill just one. They're even able to overwhelm King Thor. And just watch out for when they transform all into one giant serpent. So who wins here? Well, Hela is a pretty powerful villain for Thor, but I really don't think it's any question. It's Gorr. Hela has her clear limits. She is not more powerful than Odin. That's clear. It's arguable if she's even really more powerful than Thor. On the other hand, Gorr can slaughter gods who wrestle black holes for fun. He can kill whole godly pantheons, can fight against three Thors at once, including King Thor, a Thor who's just as powerful as Odin, maybe even more powerful. There's really not even a true debate here. Gorr has killed more than his fair share of gods, and he's killed way more powerful gods than Hela. This shouldn't really be anything new for him. Just another day at the job. Gorr wins.